Hi, welcome to Illinois Capitol Update with State Senator Dan McConchie. We're coming to you today from the old State Capitol building here in Springfield, Illinois. Today we're going to talk about a number of issues, including the bicentennial, including this old State Capitol. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of that, Route 66, and anything else that may come up on my guests' minds today to bring you sort of an idea of what's going on down here in Springfield and a little bit of the history of our state. I'm State Senator Dan McConchie from the 26th District. That covers Lake, McHenry, Kane, and Cook counties. Today, joining me is State Senator Pam Althoff from the McHenry area, joining my district, State Representative Tim Butler from the Springfield area right here, and Alan Lowe. Senator Althoff and Representative Butler are both members of the Bicentennial Commission, one of the reasons why I asked them to come here today. So thank you, Senator Althoff, for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So some people from my area might not know you despite your legendary reputation. So please tell us a little bit of your history and what is it that brought you to Springfield?
My history is as a school teacher. I went to Illinois State University and obtained my degree in education. I taught for several years. I met a boy. I married. I moved to McHenry County and ultimately ran for the position of city clerk and then mayor. And in 2003 was appointed to the state senate when my predecessor became ill.
So you've been involved for many years in governmental work. In addition, thank you for your public service. You've also done a lot of historical pieces.
Yes.
On the various just amazing historical backgrounds that we've had. So people what's some of the things that you've done? And then tell us a little bit about this old building here, a little history about it, some things that maybe people wouldn't know.
Well, one of the things, way back in 2006, there were four of us and we started the Historical Preservation Caucus here in Springfield as part of the General Assembly. And we had representatives from each of the caucuses. So we had a Senate Democrat, a Senate Republican, myself, a House Republican, and a House Democrat. That's changed over the years as people have come and gone in the General Assembly. But the whole idea was to ensure that individuals, not only in the General Assembly, understood the rich history that we have here in Springfield and in government, but also the rich history that they each have in their own districts. It's been very active. We support several issues, one of them being the historic tax credit that we get from the federal government. We mirror that here in Illinois. It's extraordinarily important to redevelopment and to ensure that we preserve the structural history that people can see and touch and experience. And then the other issues that we've done is, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago, I started a little video campaign and visited many of the state historic sites, encouraging people to actually come, see them, experience, and understand, again, the rich history that we have here in the state of Illinois.
Name a few of those places that you've gone to.
Well, here in this building, we also visited Lincoln's tomb. We also went to Grant's home. We went to Congressman Washburn's home. And that's all that comes to me right now. But we did one site every month and encouraged people, again, to visit them and enjoy them and realize, again, what's available in one night's travel here in the state.
And if somebody wanted to see some of those, where can they find those videos?
On my website, which is www.senatoralthoff.com.
Great. So tell us a little bit about this building.
Well, obviously everyone associates this building with Lincoln, and I think that that's where my background and my love of history comes from. My mother was a Lincoln buff, and so again, we spent many of our very short vacations. Obviously money was a issue back when I was growing up. So we did one-night travels, and Lincoln was kind of the focus. So obviously the old state capitol has rich history with Lincoln. But one of the points that I always share with our constituents from McHenry County is there was a flag here on the second floor over to the south side, on the south wall of the old state capitol, and that was actually given to the Historical Society for placement by individuals from McHenry County. It was carried with the cavalry, with the 18th Cavalry from McHenry County. And so they restored the flag, they donated it, and it sits here in the old state capitol, which makes me very proud.
That's great. Now, as I mentioned at the opening, you're a part of the Bicentennial project. If you were not on that commission, I would have been shocked, just given your constitution. So I don't think I need to ask why you're doing that, but tell people some of the important things that they should know. Is there what's going to be happening this year? Why is it important?
Well, I'm going to focus a little bit on my own personal interest in serving on the Bicentennial Commission. As a former educator, one of the components of the Commission's task to celebrate the Bicentennial was to really focus on educational curriculum, to bring in our youth and let them celebrate again the rich history that we have here in Illinois. We've contributed 4 presidents to the national government. We have a rich history in inventions. I bet you don't know the one invention that no one can live without these days. No. Cell phone. Invented right here in Illinois, in Schaumburg, Motorola. The other one that many women will kind of wince when they hear is the zipper, was created here in Illinois. And my own personal favorite, the pinball machine, was developed right here. So again, the idea is to present not only the rich natural resources that the state of Illinois has, the importance and its placement here in the country being right in the center, and you have to travel through Illinois if you want to go from west to east or east to west. And also, again, the contributions that we've given to the country. So I like the whole idea of bringing in children and teaching them about the state of Illinois and to celebrate that history. In addition, then we have many events. You'll hear, I'm sure, from Representative Butler about Route 66, which is near and dear to his heart. We actually are planning a trip starting and traveling across Route 66. I plan to participate in that. They also are having a large motorcycle caravan across 66. I do believe the governor is participating in that. We have planned the December 3rd celebration, which is truly the birthday of the state of Illinois. And then we've also had several events already in local individual communities. In McHenry County and Lake County, there are several celebrations acknowledging our place in that history. And then we had a large float in the St. Patty's Day Parade in Chicago. So we're taking the opportunity just again to celebrate and let people know that Illinois has contributed much, not only to its own history, but to the history of the country.
Well, I wish we could get the rights to be able to play Pinball Wizard as part of our background music on this. The last question, can you talk a little bit, I'm going to ask Representative Butler the same question. Can you talk a little bit about why be in the legislature? Why did you do it? Why is it that it's important to you? You're retiring this year. And I will miss you the most, I will say, from our. We do have a good relationship. Yeah, no, you are very effective in the legislature on what it is that you want to do. Why did you get in, and what makes you most effective?
My answer to that when I'm asked is I don't know. I became the city clerk in McHenry on somewhat of a fluke. The city clerk was retiring. People came to me and asked me to serve. I didn't even know what a city clerk did. I got very engaged in development and seeing how my community could identify itself, which is part of the history, to preserve that, and it kind of creates and identifies what your community is, who the people are, and then ultimately went on to serve in the Senate, and I think it's giving back.
So it's a love to solve those issues for your community.
It is.
Thank you very much, Pam. We'll be right back.
As a veteran, you're entitled to a wide variety of services and benefits, but with multiple forms, phone calls, and interviews, just getting your benefits can seem like an impenetrable maze. Now there's help from the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs. With over 80 veteran service officers across the state, you're never far from someone who can help get your benefits without the stress. Call 800-437-9824. 800-437-9824.
Welcome back. I'm now joined by Representative Tim Butler from Springfield. He's the only one of 177 legislators who actually lives here in the capital, in the capital city. So Tim, thank you very much for coming out. I know you know a lot of the history of this place, but please first tell me a little bit about you and where you're from. Are you native Illinois?
I appreciate the opportunity to be on here, Senator. I am a native Illinois, and I grew up in Peoria. I'm the youngest of 7 kids who grew up in Peoria. And as I tell people, I'm the only one left in Central Illinois. I've got 5 of my siblings that have moved out of state. But it's an honor for me to continue to live here in Central Illinois. Went to school at Eastern Illinois University, and then spent a few years out in Washington, D.C., working on Capitol Hill. But the rest of the time, I've lived here in Central Illinois. I've worked for a couple different members of Congress, Ray LaHood and Rodney Davis, before I got into this job. So, I'm a proud Central Illinoisan, that's for sure.
Well, that's great. It's been really great to work with you in the Capitol. It's always great to have a good, solid voice over in the House. We always need more of those, right?
That's right.
So you are on the Bicentennial Planning Commission.
That's correct. Yep.
And so, what caused you to get onto that? What is it that you're all doing? Because a lot of our viewers, they've heard about it, and they don't really know what's going on.
Well, on December 3rd of this year, of 2018, will be Illinois' 200th birthday. We'll have been a state for 200 years this December 3rd. For me, it's something. It was an opportunity for me to help celebrate the bicentennial because of my family's history. On my mother's side, my fourth great-grandfather was elected to the Illinois General Assembly in 1818, the first state senator from Pope County, and served in the first 4 General Assemblies. So when I had the opportunity to be appointed to the Bicentennial Commission to help us plan for our 200th anniversary, it was really an opportunity I wanted to take up. So Leader Durkin, the House Republican leader, appointed me to the commission. It was formed in late 2016. The governor formed it by executive order, and there's a little over 50 members of the commission. And so we've been meeting for well over a year now to help plan for activities and also to encourage local communities and local organizations to step forward to plan. So we actually have hundreds of projects and events that have been endorsed by the Bicentennial Commission that are taking place all throughout the year. And it'll culminate on December 3rd with a big birthday celebration at the United Center in Chicago. So we're looking forward to that.
So if somebody wants to go to that, how are they able to?
There's going to be tickets available to the general public. I don't think they've exactly decided on how they're exactly going to be dispersed yet, but the Bicentennial Commission has a great website at illinois200.com. People can check that out to find out for more information. They obviously can contact my office and if they need more information or how to get tickets and so on. But there's events planned throughout the state. Here in Springfield, we have actually August 26th, which is the day that our first Constitution was enacted, is going to be a big day here in Springfield. We're going to unveil the Bicentennial Plaza, which is the Illinois Realtors are building a nice new plaza in downtown Springfield.
I just saw them. There was over there a couple days ago.
It's under construction right now, but it's going to be ready to roll by August. So that's going to be a big day for Springfield. In honor of that, we're going to have a big street festival that weekend. That's going to be in honor of the Bicentennial as well. And another thing that's going to happen this summer here in Springfield, we're going to reopen the Governor's Mansion. Governor Rauner has been really good in finding private dollars to rehab a $15 million project to rehab the Governor's Mansion here in Springfield. That's going to reopen this summer and be a big part of the Bicentennial as well. It's going to be a beautiful, beautifully redone executive building, as well as a tremendous tourist draw, another tourist draw for the capital city. That's
fabulous. I'd like to pivot a little bit, and you have a real profound interest in Route 66. And I talk to kids, and a lot, if I mention Route 66, they have no idea what that is either. My grandparents did, my parents did, but certainly younger generations don't. So what drew your interest to it, and what is it that you're trying to accomplish?
So Route 66 runs through the heart of my district here in Central Illinois. I have a very long stretch of Route 66 that runs through the 87th district. And really, since I've become a legislator, I found out that 66 continues to be an economic lifeblood for a lot of our communities, especially some of our small communities where 66 used to run through and they'd have travelers stop. Now they've kind of revitalized their downtown areas, and you have shops and restaurants, and people who want to travel 66 from Chicago to LA will stop in a lot of our small towns. Here in Springfield, we have a huge car show, the Mother Road Festival in September, that draws people from around the country to come in. But really for me, two things came together. The Route 66 Scenic Byway people, when I became a legislator, sat down with me to talk about the importance of it. And then and being a resident of Springfield, I see it on a daily basis of people coming in from around the world that are traveling Route 66 for that, kind of to get the old Americana experience and get some of the funky activities that you see along 66. But you make a great point, is that if we're going to continue to have 66 as a viable part of our history of America, that we need to educate younger generations on the importance of what it did to help us really move people west and help settle the country back in the early part of the 1900s.
Why don't you tell a little bit about that history? Some people don't even know when it was established. I mean, obviously it was established as a federal project, because it goes from Chicago all the way out to LA. Tell me a little bit
So
about that.
in 1926, it was first designated as a federal route, 66, and it was really bringing together a patchwork of local and state roads into one route from Chicago to LA. So it's really one of the first great byways across the country that we designated, and it allowed people to get across the country in an organized fashion and find their way across the United States. So Illinois has a 300-mile stretch of it, and it really is a great part of the history of our country. And so what we're trying to do is, in advance of 2026, which will be the centennial of Route 66, we're trying to establish a commission in the state that would help us celebrate that. And then on the national level, some of our members of Congress are helping to set up operations to help celebrate the centennial in 2026 as well.
What has been your biggest surprise since becoming Springfield? Obviously, you had some history, working in government, but then you came and actually were a legislator yourself. What's one thing that you were like?
One of the things that I really didn't anticipate, especially being a staff person, is actually, I really enjoy being on this side of it. I always like being a staff person behind the scenes, but being able to be out front and espouse your own views and how you feel on issues really kind of gives you a level of freedom that I didn't have before as a staff person. So that's been kind of a neat part of it. And it's, I have a wonderful district. It's an area that I've worked in for a long time with a lot of great people, and it's allowed me to advocate for them at the Capitol, which at the end of the day, that's why we get in it. We all get in it because we want to go and do good things for the people we represent. But to be on this side of it instead of the staff side of it has been a fun part of it. And that's something, when I got into it, I didn't anticipate how much I would enjoy that side of it.
So sometimes, yesterday I was with a group of middle schoolers, and they were asking lots of questions about what it is that we do. What would you tell either a parent or a kid who's interested in government to say, how should they best explore it? How should they best get involved?
Well, I tell kids all the time, get involved, come to your elected officials, volunteer in their office, intern in their office. Volunteer on campaigns, get involved in campaigns. No matter which party you want to come down on, I think that's part of the process to allow students to experience the legislative process and kind of figure out where they're at on the issues. I came home in college and talked to my parents in 1987 and told them I was going to go to work help out Paul Simon on his campaign when he ran for president. I thought my dad was going to kill me. A year later, I was helping out the Bush campaign because you're in college and you're trying to figure out where you want to go. And I think it's just important to get kids involved, get them involved in our offices so they can experience it because they're going to be the next generation of legislators and leaders, and we need to make sure they get involved in the process.
Well, thank you very much for coming out today. Lastly, just tell one interesting fact about yourself.
I like to skateboard.
You like to skateboard. Thank you very much, Representative.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Senator.
you being out today. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Do you really want to know Illinois? About what makes our rivers flow? How we build our ideas and make the world's dreams grow. You'll know us from the dirt under our fingernails and the grease on our elbows. This state is built on how we serve others and raise our own. And for 200 years, our celebration has been born, built, and grown.
Welcome back. Now I'm with Director Alan Lowe from the Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. He's very involved, as well as the library right here in Springfield, to be able to promote a lot of what's going on this year in the bicentennial events. Director Lowe, thank you very much for coming.
Morning, sir. Good to see you.
So tell us, what all is on the docket? What all is going on at the library? Why should people make a trip down to Springfield? And where else can they go?
Of course. We stay very busy this bicentennial year, as every year. Right now at the museum, we have From Illinois to the White House, Lincoln, Grant, Reagan, Obama. So it's our bicentennial exhibit talking about how Illinois contributed so much to national leadership over the past 200 years. So a really fun, engaging, I think inspiring exhibit talking about the lives and legacies of those four men. But we're also doing a whole range of programming. I've been honored to serve on the Bicentennial Commission, doing a lot of programming at the Library and Museum as well around the state. You can go to Illinois200.com and find out all those events that are associated with Bicentennial. We're bringing in speakers, we're creating curriculum for schools around the state. The state historian is a member of my staff, and he's doing a lot of activities around the state as well. So we're staying very busy helping celebrate the 200th birthday.
Sure. Now, the bicentennial the theme is born, built, and grown. What does that mean?
That's right. Well, you know, it's such a rich legacy here in Illinois of people and inventions and culture and history that we often in our busy lives don't think about. And you see so much that was born, built, and grown here that not only made this a great state, but contributed to the nation and to the world. Of course, we're very proud of Abraham Lincoln being one of those things, moving here in 1830, really building his life here, becoming the leader he became thanks to Illinois and the experiences he had here. So I think that whole motto of the bicentennial is a way of saying this is a great place. And we should celebrate it every year, but especially here in the 200th birthday.
So Illinois really sees itself as fortunate to have you as the head of the Presidential Library and Museum. Tell us a little bit about your background. Where did we steal you from?
Well, I grew up in Kentucky. I've been all around the country in the Presidential Library and Museum world most of my professional career. I started.
You decided that at what age did you decide to do that?
I know. I lucked into it. I lucked into a job at the Reagan Library just out of the University of Kentucky. They hired me as an archivist at the Reagan Library. They just moved the materials to Washington.
Place,
I love it. I'll be honest with you, sir. I had no idea what a presidential library was. I thought this job sounded pretty cool. I did that. I worked in Washington for many years, worked with Senator Howard Baker in Tennessee for 6 years and created a public policy center. Most recently, before Illinois, I was director of the George W. Bush Presidential Library Museum in Dallas, Texas. I had started that library museum up and was down there for 7 years in Dallas. Loved that, but got the call about the Lincoln Library and could not resist.
So if somebody's going to come and visit,
Yes.
what can they expect? I mean, you mentioned the special exhibit that they have, but you know, I always tell people about the top hat.
Oh, we have an amazing collection of documents and artifacts related to Abraham and Mary Lincoln and to the history of Illinois. We're also what used to be called the State Historical Library. So great collections. Our exhibits are very immersive, all about the life and times of Abraham Lincoln. So you see things like his stovepipe hat. In our vault, and we bring it out occasionally, we have a handwritten copy of the Gettysburg Address. All these amazing things that bring history alive, kind of the raw material of history. As you go through the exhibits, I've been through them 1,000 times. I'm moved every time. You see the story of this man who came here really with nothing and built a life and a legacy. He saved our Union. He abolished slavery. He really saved a model of representative government for the world, and he was in Illinois, and I'm really proud of that.
Well, so if people come here, they not only can do that, they can see Lincoln's home.
That's right.
They can see Lincoln's tomb. One of my favorite stories with being out with my children is being at Lincoln's tomb.
Yes.
I know that you know when you go in and you go around the outside of the thing, and there's these little statues on the inside of each corner. We're looking at these, and my youngest daughter at the time was 7, and we get around, and we get to the last corner. And she's looking up at the statue and she goes, "Daddy?" I said, "Yes, baby." She goes, "I miss Abraham Lincoln." And it was great to be able to go and see the home and really be able to kind of, even though you grow up hearing the stories and stuff, you really don't know don't have a feel for it until you show up and you see what the house looked like and you see what the conditions were really at the time.
He was a real human being. He lived here. He had his ups and downs. You can almost feel him walking around the streets of Springfield still. And I should tell you, we have a whole line of merchandise that says, "I miss Abe." So you might want to tell that to your daughter.
I'll have to pick one up for her.
All right, very good.
It's like T-shirt?
That's right,
All
yes.
right, I'll
Coffee
have to get
mugs, all that, yes.
So there's a whole plaza that's really being developed downtown here in Springfield that connects the Capitol, kind of all the way out to Lincoln's home and such. That is in part going to be kind of, I want to say completed, but another key piece of that is going to be put in place this summer.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, the plaza
project.
right near the Governor's Mansion. It's really tied in also the Governor's Mansion renovation. There's a great dynamic here in Springfield, and we're talking about how do we work better together to market and work as tourists come here from around the state, around the world. So that connection of the sites, showing the rich history of this city in particular, and the history of Illinois, I think it's really exciting. So you've seen a lot of development here in the bicentennial to help us tell that story better, and the plaza is definitely part of that.
Can people support the work of the library if they want to?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, people will contribute to many different presidential libraries.
Yes.
Is that something people are able to do?
Please, yes. Our donors are very important to us. You can become a member of the Library Museum. You can give donations. Certainly we look for people to visit and support specific programs as well, so absolutely, yes.
Tell me more about the special exhibit that you have going. What all's in there other than just some stuff about the president?
Well, I'm really excited about it. It tells the story of how these men became great leaders and how Illinois helped craft them into leaders. Some of the artifacts we have are truly awesome, from our own collections, of course, but also from different people around the state and around the nation. For example, looking at Ronald Reagan, we have the speech card he used at the Berlin Wall when he said, "Tear down this wall."
I want to see that.
Yeah, please do. We have a love letter from Ronald to Nancy Reagan telling the story of that very important relationship. We have the surrender table from Appomattox, thanks to the Chicago History Museum loaning that to us. We have Lincoln's briefcase he used in the White House. And we know he carried drafts around in that briefcase, so very possibly things like the Emancipation Proclamation draft were in that. We're very fortunate in that we have a great partner in the state archives, and they've loaned us the original 1818 Constitution for the state of Illinois. So the first thing you see as you walk in that exhibit to start to tell the story of these four men and of Illinois is that Constitution. One of my favorite stories is about Ulysses Grant. He was so down on his luck in the years leading up to the Civil War. As you may know, he lived in St. Louis and was barely scraping by. And we have the pawn ticket where he pawned his gold watch, I believe in 1857 or 58, just to be able to buy Christmas gifts for his family. Wow. And not long after, of course, he moved up to Galena to work in his family leather goods store there. And then, of course, the war changed his fate and ours for sure. We have great fun things like a teleprompter where guests can come in and give the Gettysburg Address using a modern teleprompter, a quiz as you go around about the different presidents, and a lot of things like we have President Obama's, one of his Grammy Awards on display, I think for the first time. So a really interesting range of artifacts and photographs and videos and different types of interactive things that make it a fun, inspirational exhibit.
Well, thank you very much, Alan. It's been really educational. I'm going to make sure I make it over there.
Wonderful.
Hopefully before the end of session, but if not, I'll have to make a special trip down.
Very good. Thank you so much.
So, thank you very much, Director.
Thank you.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned, and you'll be able to see all of the places where you can go to get information about the things we talked about today. Thank you.